Joining me now, all the way from Budapest, is Menzies Research Centre Senior Fellow and Visiting Fellow at the Danube Institute, Nick Cater. Nick, your title is getting longer and longer, but let's start locally with state Liberal leaders, including John Pesutto here in Victoria and David Crisafulli in Queensland, who are distancing themselves from the coalition's nuclear plan. In Western Australia, the state's Liberal energy spokesman, Steve Thomas, says there is little community support in and around the proposed site in Collie, also warning that a nuclear power plant would be too big for the WA energy grid. In Queensland, the Liberal leader David Crisafulli has said Peter Dutton's plans for 2 nuclear power plants was not part of his plan for the state. And in Victoria, the always hapless John Pesutto has said the state Libs have no plans at this stage for nuclear energy. So what do you make of this fracture within the coalition and their nuclear strategy?
Look, I'm going to say the polite thing first, which is obviously, this is what we're supposed to say, obviously these men have not been well briefed. But for goodness sake, where have they been for the last 2 years with this debate raging about nuclear? They're just not across the facts. I mean, this guy in WA to say WA is too small for a nuclear reactor, he's no idea what he's talking about, I'm sorry to say, Rita. And if you can give me his phone number, I might ring up and give him some of the facts, which is small modular reactors actually work very well, and they work very well in remote locations, incidentally, so you can power up Karratha or whatever you want to do, you know. So they are perfect for remote areas. Otherwise, you just end up powering the north of WA with diesel, which is what they're doing right now. So has he got a plan to change that, or would he like to actually take a briefing on small modular reactors? As for Crisafulli, it's you know, I mean, he's doing this sort of low target strategy, but low target doesn't mean to say not standing up for the only sensible solution for Queensland's electricity. So anyway, let's see this play out at federal level first, and Peter Dutton, I'll take my hat off to him for taking the fight up to the government on this. We should have done it 20 years ago, of course, but, you know, let's not cry over spilt milk.
Well, we saw similar weakness, incoherence from the state Liberal leaders during the Voice campaign. Is the Liberal Party fundamentally broken at the state level, not fit for purpose? They certainly don't seem to represent the views of the majority of their voters in the states. And you would think Labor has given them so much material to work with here. Obviously, energy bills, cost of living are an enormous issue for just about every Australian. And Labor have gone straight into hysteric mode. Got ministers posting pictures of koalas with 3 eyes and 3-eyed fish and just trying to scare the electorate.
Yeah, look, I just think they are not well briefed, and they lack courage, and a combination of the two, really, Rita, because, you know, I mean, in South Australia, for instance, I'd be going out there as the opposition and say we're going to make this state self-sufficient in electricity like we used to be when we had industry running here. You know, we won't have to go begging and borrowing dirty coal from Victoria. That's what they should do. You know, they should actually come out with a positive South Australia first message. They could do it in WA. You know, the minister or the assistant or whatever, the opposition spokesman is right that WA is not connected to any other grid, which is a double reason why they need to be self-sufficient in electricity. They're heading the same route as Ireland, by the way, which has got the second heaviest electricity bills in Europe because they rely on wind and gas. Now, that seems to be WA's plan. It's not a functional plan, I'm sorry.
Now, let's talk about the ABC. The new chair, Kim Williams, has given an impassioned speech about the importance of the public broadcaster and the threats faced from social media and artificial intelligence. And Nick, you won't be surprised, he wants a funding boost. What did you make of his speech?
It's classic public service, isn't it? We're going to have a review into the effectiveness of X or Y organisation, in this case the national broadcaster, but we're going to need more money. I mean, don't you actually make that decision when you've looked at the effectiveness? When you look at whether it is value for money first, before you just say, well, we're going to have to put more money into it. And they're just so feather-bedded at the ABC. I've got some experience of this, as you have. I mean, I'm standing here in the middle of Hungary on a shoestring because you can do it these days. Television is getting cheaper, not more expensive. So, you know, this is just what looks like a sensible thing. Let's actually look about what value we get from the ABC, just turned into a money grab.
Nick, you're right. They don't exist in the real world. Every other media organisation has had to tighten their belts, but not the ABC. That $1 billion annual budget just keeps going up and up. Now, let's talk about the NDIS. You want to talk about budget blowouts. A self-described, non-binary, disabled and mentally ill NDIS claimant has revealed some of his grievances about the funding that he's receiving through the NDIS. He complains that it won't cover a dishwasher or a dryer, but the NDIS is happy to pay for people to come to his residence to do his laundry and washing. Have a look.
The NDIS is so happy to pay like hundreds, like $400, $500, $600 a week for you to have a support worker to come in to help you do your dishes and do your laundry and but they will not fund a dryer or a dishwasher, which is cheaper in the long run and also like promotes independence for the participant. Because then they don't have to rely on support workers coming to their house and helping them do their dishes. They just have a dishwasher that they can stack themselves.
Nick, he's got a point there. The waste and misuse of public money in the NDIS is out of control. It's out of control by billions of dollars, but that's just a small case for one individual of what they're doing, and it's not even what the client there wants. He'd rather have a dishwasher so he can do his own dishes, but they send someone to his house to do the dishes for him, which costs us a lot of money.
Yeah, and exactly. Well, this is where the NDIS has completely gone off purpose. I mean, I know two NDIS cases, and I know how these carers work. What they should be doing is going in and teaching the person self-sufficiency, you know, show them how to wash dishes. I mean, this guy can operate TikTok, for goodness sake. I mean, I'm pretty certain he could wash his own dishes. So, you know, that's what they should be doing, but instead it's like extended childminding on the taxpayer's bill. And the people that provide these services, of course, they have no interest in improving anybody's condition and making them more able, because that will take the money away from going and servicing their disability. The whole system is just topsy-turvy and badly thought out. Frankly, I think the only way to do it is to abolish it and start again, but I don't think that's going to happen. What I would like to see is more action from Bill Shorten on this, the Labor government really stepping in to fix up the system that it produced, which is just badly off beam.